Let me tell you something. Making millions of dollars is not hard. Executing and handling the rejection is. I went from $0 to $20 million in sales in just 2 years. And I did it with $0 spent on advertising, marketing, affiliates, anything like that. It just required a lot of hard work and a lot of persistence and a lot of everyone says they want to make the money in construction. It's not that difficult. Let me tell you, it truly isn't. But the difference between people who stay small and the people who build multi-million dollar businesses are the people who keep chipping away. Chipping away every single day at sales builds confidence. The ability to push forward even after being told no 100 times is the difference between making hundreds of thousands, tens of thousands, and millions of dollars. The ability to execute over and over and over, not trying to figure out how many calls you got yeses from, what your closing rate is, just making the actual call is what separates the business owner. I went from 0 to $20 million in just 2 years, and here's how I did it. So I started out about 7 years ago. I was waiting tables. 35 years ago, or 35, I was 35 years old. I had a business in food. I knew nothing about construction 7 years ago. I had a food business that we ran for 10 years, an entire decade. And we ultimately shut that thing down. The business failed. We were in 3,000 grocery stores across the country, and for whatever reason, the business failed. We had to shut it down. I didn't know what to do, so I had to go back to waiting tables. I literally hit rock bottom. I'd pull up to my job at waiting tables, and I'd drive to work, and I'd have a shot of vodka in my car, and then I'd have a Red Bull. And what I would do is I would pour that shot of vodka in that Red Bull, and it would give me like a little bit of liquid courage as I walked into work to get ready. I would literally drink in the parking lot to get a little bit of courage to go into that work because I was so defeated. I had hit rock bottom. I didn't know what I was going to do with my life. I was 35 years old and I had to go back to waiting tables. I was a failed entrepreneur and I was completely defeated. I didn't know what to do. And so I was trying to figure out my next path. I didn't know what that path was going to be, and I decided that it was going to be in construction. So I tapped into my network. I asked a lot of individuals, who I get a job from. But at the time, I was a failed entrepreneur and I was waiting tables. So who the hell was going to give me a job in construction? What's your construction experience? Zero. I had zero construction experience, literally nothing. And so I found a job at the Utah's largest construction company, and I started out with $68,000 a year as a salary. I was out in the field. I was out as a project engineer working with the team, and I got paid 68 grand a year. And I'm working alongside, here I am, like 36 years old, and I'm working with like 19, 20-year-old college graduates that graduated a degree in construction management, and I'm making the exact same money as them. I mean, I was so defeated. I was like, what am I doing here? Like, here I am making 68 grand a year. I owned a business for 10 years. I was an entrepreneur. We were in 3,000 grocery stores across the country. I should be doing better than this, but I wasn't. I had to start at the very bottom. I had to become humble. I had to take that piece of humble pie and understand that I may be making 68 grand a year, but ultimately the entrepreneur in me wanted to go off and do my own thing. So what did that mean for going off and doing my own thing? It meant that I needed to learn. I needed to learn everything I could about this business, inside and out. So when I was in the field, I learned all about the processes, the systems, how they manage these meetings. What could I do and understand what they were doing better? And then I got pulled into the main office. I was working on the business development team. So I was the one out helping build the pitches and going in and trying to win the work for us. But what I did is I studied how this $2 billion company won work. I studied what the business development guys did. I studied how they tracked their progress in sales. I watched what these guys did. This company wasn't spending money on marketing. They were building relationships over and over and over. These business development guys, basically the sales guys, were taking people out to lunch. They were following up on the phone. They were doing golf tournaments. They were just constantly engaging with these prospects. It was just a constant touch point. We would have weekly meetings and it'd be so boring. It's like, David, where are you at with this job? Oh, still no answer. I called Frank. Frank didn't answer, but we'll get him next week. And then the next week's meeting, what are you doing? Oh, I'm still talking to Frank. And it's like, God, we get it. Frank's not answering the phone. Do we really need to update this? But yes, it was a constant touch point. And there was never a failure about not getting in touch with Frank. It was just keep working Frank over and over and over until Frank picks up the phone. So what happened at this job? COVID hit. and it changed everything. Everything went online. I was helping the team in the office, winning the work, putting together presentations, PowerPoints, pitching to these big clients that we should be the ones to build the job. But they came to me, and ultimately I wasn't fired, but they said, "Hey, we don't have a position for you here anymore in the business development side. Do you want to go back out in the field? Do you want to get into estimating? Do you want to do this? You want to do that?" And I decided, like, ultimately I wanted to be an entrepreneur, and this was my chance to get out. So they gave me like a 30-day notice, basically, because they felt bad about it. So what they did is they took me out of that position and they gave me 30 days to kind of work my way out. So what I did is I got really, really, really educated on running a construction business. I was like, this is my opportunity. What am I going to do? How am I going to do it? Problem is, I had nothing. I had no resume. I had no experience. I had no clients. I had nothing, literally nothing. I quit this job, and all I had to my name was I had worked at a construction company for 3 years, getting paid $75,000 a year. I'd never built a house. I'd never managed a house. I didn't do anything. Who the hell was going to give me the opportunity to build a house? Zero sales, zero resume. So what I did was my wife was working with a developer, and they had a piece of land. They had a piece of real estate with a set of drawings. And so I went around and I got my wife, my business partner, his brother, my neighbor, and everyone invested money in this project. So we bought the dirt collectively, and then we went out and all personally guaranteed the loan on this house. So now we were able to get our first project. So our first project, this is it. This is our first house. This is the first house we ever built. This is lot 72. And we built this house, and it was during time when COVID exploded in our town. It was a spec house, and we were able to build the house and then sell the house for a profit. So what this did is, one, it gave me a resume builder. I now had one house under my belt to say, yes, I built a house in Park City, Utah. Yes, I built a house in this neighborhood. Yes, I have built a house, so you should hire me to build your house. The problem was I was under construction of one house. You can't survive off one house. So there's a trust barrier in that. How am I going to get individuals to trust me to buy my service, i.e., hire me to build their house? How can I get people to trust me? One house was great. Let me be honest. It was awesome that we had one house. But how was I going to get more people to trust me along the way? How was I going to convince clients to give me their multi-million-dollar projects? This was a tough one. I wasn't sure how it was going to happen. And I felt really stuck in that moment of what I needed to do. And, the question is, do you ever feel stuck? Of course you do. I speak to contractors all the time about how they feel stuck, how they feel like they can't get work, how, business sales goes up and down, up and down. It's happened to me in my entire career. We came out of a cannon really quick, i.e. how we went from $0 to $20 million in just 2 years. But, we're kind of on this down point right now, and I'm going to get to that, how we were really high, and then now we're slowly on this down point because we got a little greedy. So currently, right now, in this exact moment, I'm feeling stuck. I'm feeling like, what am I going to do? How am I going to win work? And, if you ever feel stuck in your business, if you feel like you can't get sales, you're not alone. We're all doing it. We're all going through it. And so the one thing I want to share with you is I felt stuck. I currently feel stuck. I'm trying to win some more work in a different approach, which I'm going to get to. But if you ever feel stuck in your business, you're not alone. But so what did I do? I was feeling stuck. What did I do? I had no choice. It was time to grind. I had one house under my belt. How was I going to take that one house and how was I going to turn that into a resume? How was I going to convince people to let me build their multi-million-dollar homes? I had to go to work. So what did that mean? I had to tap into my network. So I reached out to everyone I knew, literally. I reached out to every single person I knew and said, hey, I'm in construction. I call it my ICC, my ideal construction client. So I called every single family and friend I know. Let me be honest with you. If you think that everyone you know in your network knows that you do construction, you're wrong. People you went to high school with, people you used to work with, people that you used to date, whatever. People aren't necessarily paying attention to your life and what you're doing. So don't assume that everybody you know in your life that's in your phone book knows what type of construction you do, what type of work you do. They don't know. So I called everyone I know and just said, hey, I just want to let you know, I quit my job. I went off on my own. I own a construction company. If you happen to know anybody that's looking for a new build, please send them my way. It'd mean a lot to me. And so, I had to tap into my network. I had to reach out to everyone. But the hard truth about sales is people aren't going to call you back when you're new. Even when you're not new and you're established, people aren't going to call you back. Most of them ignored me. People just said, yes, yes, yeah, of course I can give you work. And then they ghosted me. You've ever been ghosted by someone? Someone's like, oh, yeah, I'd love to give you work. Oh, yeah, anytime. You got it, dude. Like, whatever you want. And then they never call you back. They never answer your calls. They never email you. They just go out. They just go blank. The first phone call sounded great, and then they never talk to you again. They completely ghost you. It's going to happen to you. It's going to happen over and over and over. But you have to provide value to these individuals. So I started calling all these real estate agents and just letting them know, like, hey, I'm new to the game, but I would spin the narrative. Hey, I've worked on $90 million projects. That's a fact. I had over $100 million of construction experience, but I was one of 700 people on a team and I was the lowest on the totem pole, but I'm not lying. I have over $100 million worth of project experience. That's a fact. But unless they dive deeper, what'd you do on those projects? I don't have to tell them. So I literally called every single real estate agent, every single architect, and every single person I knew in our town. Every single person I did. So what happened out of that? We were able to land 9 jobs. So my first job we got was the spec house. The second job was a good friend of mine. I called him and said, hey, I'm in the game. What do you think? And he said, oh, I have a friend that does development in California. Maybe he'd be interested. I called the guy. I tell him what kind of comps we're getting in our neighborhoods, what kind of comps Park City's giving at the time. It was incredible returns on your investment. And the guy said, shit, I'll buy a lot. Let me do it. So one of my best friends knew a guy who was in development who ended up buying a piece of dirt and building a spec house and letting me build it for him because my good friend said, David's a really honorable guy. You should trust him. So that was my second build. Our third build was I called my sister. I called everyone. My sister went to college with a guy, and this guy was a counselor. And this guy's clients were building a house coincidentally in Park City. So my sister's best friend, client. I mean, he's a high school counselor, and he was the counselor for their kids, and they happened to be building a house in Park City. So he's a really good guy. He's a good character, and he called them and said, oh, David's one of the best. You should use David. So they were like, well, if you trust David, I trust David. So I got my third job from my sister's friends' clients. I mean, who would have thought? That client ended up building 2 houses, and then we built a third house for them, and now we're slated to build a 4th house for them, which will be our biggest house we've ever done. So my dear friend got me a client. My sister's friend got me a client. The third house we got, or the 4th, 5th house we got, was I sent out an email to all the real estate agents in town. I called every single real estate agent I knew in town. That house was landed by a real estate agent. Then I went to a bunch of architects and I said, hey, I need some work. We're new. Now we had some momentum. Now we were working. Then I got some architects to give me work. So the first 6, 7 houses came from my friend, my sister, an architect, and a realtor. Mind you, these are multi-million-dollar homes. All of it came with 0 experience, and it just came from trusted referrals. So when I sent these real estate agents emails, I wasn't like, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Realtor, I'm in town, like I'm new to the game, like this and that. I provided a little bit of value to them. And I was just like, hey, I'm a contractor in Park City. We're building remodels, like whatever you want to do. If you're doing new builds, backyard renovations, remodels, all this stuff. I basically was like, I know you have a lot of clients that are looking for builders. And I know you have a lot of choices when it comes to builders. And I'm sure you have a lot of great relationships with builders. But, we all know the horror stories of building. It's over budget, it's over schedule. The builder ghosted them. They went to Mexico, you never be found again. All these things have happened to clients of theirs. And so I was like, I would encourage you just to give your clients a little bit of information about vetting their contractor wisely. So here's a couple tips. When you ask for a couple referrals, and then were the contractors on budget? Did they stay on schedule? What challenges came up? Did they answer the phone call when those challenges happened? Did they answer your phone call every time? Were there excessive change orders? How do they handle selections, details, following the plans? Call architects, designers they've worked with. Were they collaborative? Were they difficult? All I'm doing is giving this real estate agent some value. I'm saying, hey, let's provide a little bit of value to you. So whether you choose me or not, that's fine. But that building is a sketchy game. And if your clients are going to invest in a builder, I want to make sure that you're having your clients ask the right questions. So here's a little template of a thing that I would ask, a builder, I would make sure I get references and all that stuff. So I provided a little bit of value to these real estate agents rather than just selling them and saying, hey, we build houses. If you know anybody, give me a call. I kept it pretty vague, pretty simple, but I provided a little bit of value to these real estate agents. So the one thing I want to let you know is that sales is a long-term game. You have to play the long-term game if you're going to play sales. So to mention where we're at, like I mentioned in the beginning, like, we hit this little bit of dip. So we got a little greedy. We went from 0 to $20 million in just 2 years. That's a shit ton of money. And that's really fast. And that was me getting on the phone, me just working real estate agents, working architects, working family and friends just over and over and over. And then all of a sudden, boom, we got shot out of a cannon and we had more work than we could handle. And we just got so busy. And then work just started coming in. Like people would drive by our job sites and then people would just call us. Hey, I saw you're building a job here. Can you bid my job? All of a sudden, we started getting more residual work. We got a little cocky. We got a little complacent because we were busy. We had a lot of work and we're like, we got this. Come all the way back to now, we've started to slow down. So in this slowdown game, I've had to pick up the phone again. I've had to get a little more resistant. I've had to figure out what it's going to do to our business if we don't start making phone calls now. And one of my favorite sayings is don't get ready, stay ready. So you got to stay ready in the game. You got to stay ready. You got to make sure that you're working your way, particularly when you're not even needing the work. So you're constantly calling people, you're staying relevant. You're not waiting till you have no work and you're like, shit, I got to make a bunch of phone calls. So, how you win high-end clients is you build relationships. Luxury sales comes from trust. So you can sell a backyard. You can sell a remodel. You can do it through ads. You can go to Facebook ads. You can do targeted ads on Instagram if you're doing those types of things. And maybe that's your type of sales. If you're doing small projects, $5, $10, $20,000 projects, you could probably get really strategic on your advertising on Facebook, YouTube, Google, all that stuff. But if you want to level up and get into homes that are $500,000, $1 million, $2 million, $10 million, it's going to come from relationships. No one's going to buy your service off an Instagram ad, a Facebook ad when it comes to luxury sales. It comes from trust. You got to build that trust from people. You got to recognize that relationships are everything. So as I mentioned, $20 million in sales in 2 years. And we were so excited. We were just climbing up, boom, boom, boom. And then all of a sudden our sales started to go down. The sales started to go down. So what needed to happen? I realized the challenges never stop. Like no matter how big you get, no matter how much work that's coming in the door, you got to stay relevant. You have to stay on top of it. You got to make sure that you are doing what it takes. So our sales are down. Currently our sales are down. We're trying to win work for the spring. Right now it's March and I have a couple good prospects, but I don't have any jobs landed for the spring. So I'm starting to get a little nervous. That's how it goes in construction. It's up and down because like I say, don't get ready, stay ready. I didn't stay ready. I got complacent. I got cocky. I got just like in the zone of like, oh, the work's going to keep coming. And then all of a sudden the market slowed down. The election came, everyone's like, what's going to happen? Biden or Trump, Kamala or Trump? And then who knows? And tariffs are coming, all these things, the market's slowing down. So now I got to get ready. So these challenges never stop. So we had to get creative as a company. So as a company, we had to separate ourselves even further. So what did we do? I sat down with one of my mentors. This guy, he took a company from $10 million to $250 million in 2 years. And he did this simply by changing the way the business worked, but they're in the industrial space. But they came up with, they call them their 4 points of distinction is what they call them. So we came up with our 4 signature guarantees. So we're like, all right, what's going to separate us from other builders in this town? What can we provide that other builders aren't? So our guarantees are we guarantee a maximum fee, we guarantee a scheduled completion date, and we'll pay a liquidated damage if we don't hit that. No one in our town's doing that. Same day communication. So on any inquiry, we'll pick up your phone, we'll get back to you, we'll text you back, we'll email you back on any inquiry, same day communication. And then daily reports and logs. So you're going to get right to your phone, daily reports, logs, updates, all that stuff. So these are the guarantees. This is what we do to separate ourselves. Then next, here's what I had to do. I had to go on Fiverr. Fiverr is a freelance website, or Upwork, a freelance website. And I had to say, hey, there's these 4 brokerages in our town. We got Sotheby's, we got Berkshire Hathaway, we got Christie's, and we got Windermere. So I said, I want you to go on these websites and I want you to give me every phone number, every email address for every single real estate agent in these brokerages. So Fiverr put together a spreadsheet for me, 700 real estate agents, 700. Then I had to go get a CRM and I got that software and then I had to learn the software so I could track all these calls, 700. And I said, I'm going to call 10 to 20 real estate agents every single day. And when I get on the phone with them, I'm going to talk to them about our signature guarantees. I'm going to send them some brochures. We put together a lot of marketing. We made some videos, so we made some really high quality videos of the builds we had done, highlighting our signature guarantees, what we could do. And I got really, really, really diligent on making these signature guarantees in front of everybody that needed to know it. And the people I was going after was real estate agents. Real estate agents are what got us the business in the first place. Real estate agents, architects, and friends got us $20 million in sales in 2 years. And that's simply just making phone calls and being humble enough to just call every single person you know and saying, hey, I'm looking for work. I'm looking for work. It's not hard. It's really not that hard. It's picking up the phone. But here's what you got to realize. It's a numbers game. It's hard. Business is hard. Sales are emotional. It takes a lot of effort. It takes a lot of effort to recognize that it's not about making the sales. It's not about closing the call. It's not about landing the deal. If you get in that mindset, you're going to be extremely discouraged. I have 700 real estate agents. I'm calling all these real estate agents over and over and over. And what I'm doing with that is I'm just putting a bug in their ear. Hey, my name's David. Just wanted to call and introduce myself. I'm a contractor in town. If you have any clients that are looking to do remodels or new builds, please think of us. In addition, I'm going to follow up some of our signature guarantees. Let me tell you about our signature guarantees really quick. We do 1, 2, 3, and 4. That's what we do. But I'll follow up with a video and a brochure. And then if I don't hear from you, I'll reach back out to you in about a quarter or so. So in that time, what I've done is I have taken, I've just taken this list of real estate agents and I've called them all. I've called every single one of them. And what I've trained myself to do is 99% of the time I call these real estate agents, one, they've never heard of me. They don't even know who I am. And two, they don't have any clients. Sorry, I don't have anybody looking. Sorry, I got no one looking right now. Okay, great. That's 99% of the time. I get a zero on that. This big fat zero. But my goal is simply to make the call. If you detach from the result, from someone saying yes, from someone giving you a lead, and you just say, I'm going to make 10 calls today. Tomorrow I'll make 10 calls. Tomorrow I'll make 10 calls. And you just keep stacking up those calls over the course of 1, 2, 3, 400 calls. My goal is to land 1%. So if I call 700 real estate agents, I truly believe I will get 7 jobs out of that. 7 leads out of that, let's say. Let's say I land, let's just say I land, I don't know, 20% of those leads, 50% of those leads. In my world, that's 3 or 4 houses. So now, 700 calls later gets me 3 or 4 houses. In my world, if I'm building a $5 million home, at 10%, let's say I'm getting. So I'm getting 5 houses out of 700 phone calls, or 4 houses. That's $2 million of profit. Would you make 700 phone calls if I told you you were going to make $2 million in profit? Of course you would. But the problem is you make 10 phone calls and no one answers. So you give up. You make 20 phone calls and no one picks up. No one says yes. You give up. The problem is you get attached to the emotion of the yes or the no. But if I were to tell you, if you make 700 phone calls and you'll net $2 million in your business, would you make 700 phone calls? Of course you would. Would you send out 700 emails? Of course you would. But if I were to tell you that you're going to call 700 people and only 7 of them are going to give you a lead, that's going to be a different mind shift. So you got to just realize that it's all about making the call. It's not about landing the sale. And guess what? I made 300 calls. And of those 300 calls, I maybe had 2 leads. Maybe. One of them we're bidding right now. And it's a big job. It's a $10 million job. That's about $1.2 million net profit for me. That's a lot of money. But I had to make 200 or 400 phone calls to get that one lead. And guess what? Of all the other real estate agents, all of them said, nope, I don't have a lead. Nope, I got no one. Nope, nope, nope. And guess what? I followed up with emails every quarter to those real estate agents. Send them a text. Hey, just checking back in. Just want to let you know I'm still here. And guess what? Over the last 2, 3 weeks, calls I made it 6 months ago have started to come in. Random people are calling me and saying, hey, my name's Joe. I got your information from Sally. I'm like, who the hell is Sally? I'm going back in my CRM and I'm looking up Sally. I got to Google a photo of what she looks like. I'm like, oh, yeah, that's Sally. I've talked to Sally one time. The reality is, real estate agents don't know you exist. Most real estate agents don't know any contractors. But real estate agents touch the clients before you do. A real estate agent sells that client the house that they're going to remodel. A real estate agent sells the client the dirt that they're going to build on. And then they're going to say to you, or say to them, do you know any builders? Do you know any builders that can do this remodel? Do you know any builders that can do this renovation? And they're going to say, yeah, I do. But the reality is they don't know anybody. So you got to introduce yourself. Truly, I've gotten 4 leads for remodels from real estate agents I've met one time on the phone. All I did was introduce myself and say, hey, we're a builder. Think of us. And they go, great. I don't know any builders in town. That's fantastic to have a good name for a builder in town. I'll put your name on my list. I send them the marketing brochures. We have good stuff. And then guess what? I've gotten 4 remodel leads from real estate agents I've met one time on the phone for a 30-second interaction. And then I have one real estate agent that I called, never met him before. He goes, thanks for calling. I have no clients, 0 clients, and I don't have any builders to recommend. So this is fantastic. Thanks for calling me. 6 months later, that guy is the one that's giving me the $10 million lead. So I'm literally interviewing with this client and submitting a contract next week for a $10 million build. This would be our biggest build we've ever had in our entire career. This is game changing. It put us in a neighborhood that we've never even been in before. And now we can establish ourselves as a bigger builder in this town. And it came from me cold calling a real estate agent who I'd never met before. He never met me before. He had 0 leads. And it was a dead phone call when I got off the phone with him. He's like, yeah, I got no one, sorry. And 6 months later, it's a $1.2 million profit job that we're going to be able to submit a contract for, simply because I made the phone calls. You got to make the phone calls. You got to make the calls. It's not about getting yes or no. If I got discouraged that real estate agent said, no, I don't have anybody, then I would have stopped after 10 calls. I would have stopped after 20 calls. But instead, I just kept making the calls. And it may take 6 months later. It takes a long time. It's a long-term play. We earned $20 million in sales from calling friends, real estate agents, and architects. There's an architect 2 doors down from me in my office. I know this guy well. He knows my parents, everything. He does some big shit in our town, some beautiful homes. I've been trying to get in with this guy for 2 years now. Every 6 months, I drop off a gift. I drop off a little booklet. I drop off a bottle of whiskey. And I say, hey, still looking to get some work from you. Still would love to, get a new project with you. Still would love the opportunity to build a home with you. This guy has given me 0 work. Doesn't mean I'm not going to keep going over there and trying. You never know. You never know, because I might walk into the right time and he goes, actually, we have a client that we're looking for. These types of things are easy, but sometimes you just don't even know what you need to do. Sometimes you don't even know that you need to lock in and figure out. We all are 1 or 2 steps away from understanding what we need to do. And where I've gained a lot of knowledge is I have a lot of friends in this town that are 15 years ahead of me in building. I'm on my 10th house. They're literally on their 100th house. And they're building $10, $20 million homes. I'm building $3, $4 million homes. So I lean on these guys. I use them. I call them my big brothers. The power of mentorship is something else. Having a guide speeds up your success. Having someone that's done it before you really, really helps with this type of stuff. Learning from someone else is an incredible thing. Understanding from someone else what you can do it's just a leg up. It just gets you somewhere a little bit further. That's the beauty of mentorship. And we've all been there. We've all been stuck. We all have been in a place where we don't know what we want to do because we don't know what to do. And we're confused, we're bummed, and we went from 0 to $20 million in sales, but we did it through a lot of phone calls, a lot of resilience, and mentorship. It's simply just understanding that. So I understand that, we all have businesses, we all have things that we want to do, but if you want to grow and you want to get a little bigger in your business and you want to accelerate that, sometimes mentorship's the way to go. So, if you want to book a call with me, it's a 90-minute call. It's $400. And look, I'm not trying to sell you on this because frankly, I don't need the money. I'm busy in my construction business, but I want to help individuals that are looking to grow. I want to help individuals like you that want to scale your business faster. And there's no pressure on this, truly. If you don't have the money, if you don't want to get the mentorship, and if you don't want to book the call, that's fine too. Because at the end of the day, you know, I'm going to continue to keep putting out this content for free. I'm going to continue to keep ramping up my YouTube channel and providing as much value as I can to you guys, because that's what I want to do. I want to help contractors. I speak to contractors every single day online. I do coaching calls all the time, and I like hearing from you guys. I like seeing your growth. I like to see what you guys are struggling with, and I like helping individuals. When I get these DMs from these guys and these phone calls from these individuals that, I've helped change their business, it feels really good. But, I'm busy too, and I only have limited time for these types of phone calls. So, I'm not trying to pitch this to you because simply, one, I don't need the money, but two, I'm going to continue to give you free content. So if you just want to keep learning about free content and how to get sales, how to get money, how to go from $0 to $20 million, well, then just keep subscribing to my channel. I'm going to keep giving you all this stuff for free because I want to help this industry. I want to help you grow in your entrepreneurial career because it's not easy. It's not hard. So, one thing I need from you, simple, if you don't, if the call's not for you, that's fine. One thing I'm hoping from you is, just engage in this. If this video helped you, just comment yes. Just drop yes in the comments, because I'm going to try to tailor my content around what helps you guys. And if I'm not getting any feedback from everybody, then I'm not going to know what is working and what's not working, what content to make. So this one's all about sales. The next one will be all about estimating. The next one will be about project management. And then I'm going to hone in what you guys think is and isn't working and what you guys like and you don't like. And then I'm going to make more and more and more content about that particular topic. So if you thought this video was helpful, if you liked this particular style video or the way I delivered this or whatever, comment yes if this was helpful. And then that real estate spreadsheet, if you want the spreadsheet that I have, the emails I sent to realtors, I have quarterly emails that I send to realtors, and every quarter I give them like an email giving them a lot of value, providing value for them to help their clients select contractors. So if you want that email template, it's free. It's simply free. Just DM me sales on Instagram at David James Windsor. Just shoot me a DM sales on Instagram, and I'll email you that template. It's nothing more than 4 email templates. I send it out to the realtors every single quarter, and it's just my attempt to get more people in the book. So DM me sales if you want that thing. Book the call. There's a link in the video below to book the call on Calendly if you want to. Otherwise, comment yes in this video. Please subscribe to this channel, and I really appreciate you guys. That's all I got, and I hope you have a great day. Talk to you soon.